was what stall count is. So, I forgot frisbee. I don't know if frisbee practice is. So when Kevin catches a disc, right? I toss it to him and Kevin catches it. Oh, perfect, great catch. All right? Paul's going to come onto him and defend. All right? This is called marking. There are a couple of rules about marking. First of all, the mark. Can the mark move his feet? Yes. Yes. Mark his feet exactly. He can go all over. Exactly. Now, Kevin has a disc. He has something that's called the disc space. All right? And what literally he'll do is he'll take a disc, and this is the distance that Paul's torso can't be close to Kevin's torso. So you see a lot of defenders who will come up on you like this, right? See? And he does that. And literally I've taught him and Manny and all the other veterans to take the disc and ram it here. All right? And it teaches them a very quick, not so painful lesson about this space. You cannot be within a disc. Simple as that. Now, I'm going to tell you something interesting. This rule is a little vague. For example, when I go to throw, and Kevin blocks me and Paul blocks me because I did a terrible throw, and they both block me, look how close their arms are to me. You see that? Isn't that disc space? I mean, think about it. In order to block, theoretically, you have to be within a disc of me. You see what I'm saying? Well, really, the rule's pretty vague. But what you're allowed to do, and it's very clear, is take a disc, put it in between you and the guy, and say disc space, and the guy has to back up. He's not going to stop counting, he's not going to do anything, that's why you force it in there. So he literally has to back up. Okay? So that's something I want to see. I don't want to see anyone allowing anyone to be all the way right up into it. Okay, the other thing, so Kevin's just caught it, Paul's guarding him. What is Paul doing while he's guarding him? Every time that you are guarding the person with the disc, what do you have to do?
Stall count?
Count. It's something called a stall count. If I ever see you not stall counting, I'm going to bench you for the rest of your life. Alright? It's that simple. It's just, everyone's off the team. A lot of my defenses are based on the stall count. There's a theoretical thing where a man who has a disc has 10 seconds to throw it. Right? And if he doesn't throw it in 10 seconds, then it's a turnover. That's great. That means that our defense, theoretically, if everybody guards that person, they only have to guard him for 10 seconds. That's it. And then it's a turnover. But if no one's stall counting, then what happens? Well, you can just watch the field forever, and you'll often see me on the field. If for some reason, like my guy falls over, which is very common because I'm very skilled, right? And I catch the disc and there's no one on me, I'll say no stall count. And I'll inform everybody around me who doesn't recognize it.
You can't call stall count from over here. You got to be on the
Exactly. That's exactly right. So 10 feet. Exactly right. So this is about how far I can be. Maybe here. Right? But what a lot of people, just like Paul said, a lot of people do is like, oh, Kevin just caught this, I'll be running up, I'll be all the way over here, I'll be all like, stall 1, stall 2, stall 3, and then by the time I get to him, I'm stall 4. There are rules about stall count. You have to be within 10 feet. There can only be one person within 10 feet. That rule is very important. So Paul is marking Kevin. Oh, I see my guy's 30 feet away. Maybe I'll just do this. Yes, I've figured out the entire sport. All you have to do is put 7 guys around the guy at the end, 2 guys on our shoulders, and we'll just completely surround him. No, that's not how the sport works. You can have one guy within 10 feet. There's an exception to the rule. Tom, our star receiver, run right up to Kevin and ask for the disc. Right? I am then allowed, as a defender of Tom, to enter the area. And that'll be very useful because you say, oh, that's kind of silly, why would Tom go 2 feet away? But we use something called a cup zone, right? Which is the most, far and away the most popular breed of zone in Ultimate. And what it is me and Tom are now on defense, and we're both just outside 10 feet away from Kevin. Right? So we're like here. You understand? And Tom's also arms wide. You know what Tom's doing. Alright. Arms wide, okay? Now, what's going to happen is Emilio, their star receiver, is going to run on in. Go on, Emilio. Run on in. Run. And he's going to say this. And this is called crashing the cup. Right? Oh, man. Kevin gets the break side there. There you go. When he crashes the cup, I crash it with him. You see that? So, Emilio crashes the cup. I'm like, screw this 10 feet rule. And I come on with him. And I block. All right, Charlie? Boom, blocked. You understand? Okay, good. Sit down. So, I gotta tell you, I am a stickler for marking because honestly, marking is like half the defense. It really is. The way we use marking, what the idea is when Paul's marking Kevin, right? Mark Kevin, right? And if we're going this way, if he's marking like this, he blocks some very specific things. It's called marking straight up. But the way we tend to mark is where we block off an entire side of the field. You see that? Everybody understand how he does that? Go up. So Kevin's going to try and throw. Kevin, try to throw. Try to throw it to the break side. Go up. Paul's got him. Up. Paul's got him. He's blocking off half the field. Yeah, they don't handle. He's blocking off half the field. You understand that? Right there. He's blocking off half of the entire field. So you have to know the rules of marking. Now, we're also going to go over right now some basic marking form. I'm not talking about advanced form. We like to do something called, which we did to some extent last year, but not enough by any stretch of imagination. So this year we're going to do something called 3-point marking form. But right now, all I'm going to teach you is Paul, Mark, Kevin, and you're going to see he does some things naturally. See how his legs are bent. See that? See how his arms are wide. See that? And you see how he's lower than Kevin. This guy's can't outlow Kevin. So you see how he keeps his center of gravity low, and when you'll see when Kevin moves, Kevin pivots, you see how his feet shift. He's not going to play Kevin's game. If he's marking Kevin and all he does is pivot, right? So I mean that's not really defense. You understand? He has a distinct advantage, which is that Kevin, by the rules of the game, is now limited to his pivot foot. All right? And Paul is going to take full advantage of this. All right? He's going to shift. He's going to stay on his toes. He's going to keep moving. All right? Now, what a lot of people do is, I can move. All right, well, Kevin goes for something, and Paul overbids. And then boom. There's a lot of discipline involved because you have that freedom. You understand? You understand?
Yes.
All right, I give nods. I've heard vocally, I have secrets. Got some experience at this point. No, it's not footage of it. It's going to hurt. So, that's the basics of marking. Okay? All our defenses have some form of marking. Yes, all our defenses have a crucial form. There aren't many defenses at all. In fact, I dare say none that have no stall count. Stall count is an essential part of the game. Every time. What? The wall does, because you slowly, remember? Don't worry about it. Kevin's talking about something you haven't learned yet, which is illegal, and he knows it. Alright, so now I'm the receiver against our receiver, and I throw it to Kevin. Paul's guarding Kevin, of course Kevin broke it, but look, he makes up for it, right? He's right on him, he's guarding him. You see that? Alright, now let's do it the other way so everybody can see from the other angle. Alright, so Kevin's going to go this way, Paul's going to mark him towardly. So I throw it, boom, and Paul's right on him, knees bent, arms wide, you see that? And Kevin is already intimidated. Or Kevin doesn't know what to do. Exactly. Now, I'm going to tell you something about intimidation. Don't be intimidated. Yeah, that was easy. Now we've solved that problem. No. Listen, a lot of rookies catch the disc and they don't know what to do with themselves. I got to tell you, I don't care what level of ultimate we're competing against. People can smell fear. All right? Do not be afraid. You catch the disc, and I'll tell you how. You'll learn what you have to do with the disc. But you have no idea how many of you catch the disc and then immediately say, like, I got to get rid of the disc. You start pivoting rapidly. You start looking for every option as if it's your last hope. You have 10 seconds. So I just described 10 seconds as almost no time. You have
9 fakes.
Right, exactly. Exactly. You have so many options. Just like he said, 9 fakes are really, the way I think about it, 10 options. You know, if you get an option a second, it's 10 options. And something that's big about our offense is that we create a lot of options. Or at least we're going to try to create a lot of options. And when you're a receiver, that's what you have to be thinking about. Creating options for your handler. We're going to have a dump option. We're going to have an upline option. We're going to have a shortcut option, a deep cut option. A break side hammer option, if I have this. All right? Lots of options, and many of them each time, all within 10 seconds. So 10 seconds is an eternity. I don't want anyone to catch the disc. Kevin, you're going to have to do some acting now. Kevin's back to old last year Kevin. I throw Kevin the disc, and he catches it. He's scared. He doesn't know what to do. He's moving. Look how disorganized he is. Right? And you see how Paul is suddenly playing like a madman? It's because Kevin has no idea what he's doing. Simple as that. All right? When a guy doesn't know what he's doing, everybody knows that guy doesn't know what he's doing. So what you guys really have to realize is that when you have the disc, you've just earned this disc. You've broken You've gotten open, you've made your cut, and now you gain the trust of the handler to give you the disc. Use it. I am not expecting any of you to come into the sport and suddenly know how to get open, catch the disc, look upfield, whip a 60-yard, deep throw. But you have to know that if you're getting the disc, tell me the difference between making a cut and dropping the pass, and making a cut, getting the pass, and then stalling out.
What's the difference between winning and losing?
Right. It's exactly right. It's the difference between winning and losing. It's a world of difference. You see that?
Yes.
All right. Good. Don't stall out. That's my number one rule on offense.
I was trying to drop this.
Yes, don't drop it. That's also a rule. And score. That's my third rule. You must score. Otherwise you're broken the rules. Stalling out means a lot has gone wrong. It really does. All right?
And it's not your fault.
Yeah, it's definitely not necessarily your fault. I've had times where I've stalled out. I stalled out maybe once or twice last season. I was very upset at myself. But I got to tell you, I like to pass the disc. I do. If there's somebody open, I like to give it to them. And I didn't have an option. In 10 seconds, I didn't have an option, which is crazy.
And if you're at 9.5, you see nothing, it's okay to check.
Yeah, and that's exactly right. We used something last year. Hopefully we won't have to use it this year, called a punt. And we don't see football as football season. All right, punting is simply stall 9. Instead of saying, maybe I'll try this short little pass that's extremely contested, or I'll try that little break side hammer, which I don't even know how to throw. You just throw it as far as you can.
Maybe somebody catches, maybe somebody doesn't.
Exactly. At the worst case scenario, it's a bad throw.
Worst case scenario.
Worst case scenario, you throw it out, the wind catches it, you're 20 minutes. Don't do that. Right. I'm not thinking big enough. Okay. What's realistically the only bad thing that's going to happen is it's a turnover. And we gain, if you look at it in a field position sort of way, which is how we kind of got the mentality of last year, which is bad. But for you poor rookies, what it's about is seeing that if you throw it 50 yards and no one catches it, they're going to get the yards 50 yards further back than they were going to. You understand that? The stall count is just about the worst thing you can do. Now, stall out. Stall count is necessary. Stall out is about the worst thing you can do. Another thing I don't want you to see, I don't want to see from any of you. And hey, let me say something first. You may be saying, whoa, Cliff. You're throwing a lot of stuff on me. I'm just a little rookie. Listen, this is about decision making. It's not about your skills. It's not about your athleticism. Okay? It's about when you're on the field, recognizing what you ought to do, which is entirely mental. You see that? There are really 3 sides to this season. There's our mental side, which is going to be tested. I need you to be ready for it. There's our physical side, where our team has some serious progress to make. We're small, we're not necessarily fast. You like to say, oh, we're small, but we're fast. No, we're small, we're not the fastest. We're small, slow, and can't jump high. No, I mean, we have some strengths, but yeah, we're all Raven. We're small, slow, we can't jump high. We have a lot of strengths. I mean, I'm not saying